Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and a very happy St. Patrick's Day. The TAG Product Management Society is very excited to host our first event of 2022, and it feels really good to be back connecting with our audience and fellow product management professionals. My name is Barney. I'm a board member of the TAG Product Management Society, and I'll be coordinating the event today and moderating our discussion with the guest panelists. If we can skip to the next slide. We all know that product management roles are increasingly becoming coveted positions. They play a key role in adding value to an organization and its revenue growth. And in return, they are rewarded with high salaries and ample opportunities for growth. In fact, it has been ranked in the top 10 on Glassdoor's list of best jobs in America since 2018, with thousands of job opportunities available. But what exactly does a product manager do? What challenges could you face as a product manager or a product management leader? What are the different aspects of this role? What different opportunities are there if one's considering a career move? And are you up for the task? This is exactly what we'll be discussing with our guest panelists here today. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce our society chair, Nalini Humphrey. He is going to give us a quick overview of the TAG Product Management Society. So next slide, please. Nalini, you're on mute.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Nalini Humphrey, and thank you, Megan. As you know, Product Management Society has been in Georgia for a while now as part of the TAG Society. I don't know if you are all aware, but we have roughly around 20,000 product management professionals in and around Atlanta area. And really our goal as a society is to create a platform for these professionals to network and learn from their peers, right? We do around 4 events every year. They are geared towards best practices in product management. We get expert panelists to discuss any key network, the key technologies that are upcoming, and then we also discuss best practices and what made them successful in their role, like today's event. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Yep, it's there. Sorry, you exposed. Yeah.
So this is a volunteer organization, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our board members who put their effort beyond their day job to make this happen. We have new board members that are on the board. We also have some opportunities open to join and help us in the board capacity and also as a community member to help the society. So if you are interested, I would request you to reach out to one of our board members, contact them to get more information as well. Next slide. So we do, as I mentioned, 4 events. So here's a quick view into our upcoming events for the year. In May, we are going to do a networking event. You'll also get an opportunity to do your headshots. So if you want to refresh your headshots, you could do that. We are going to have another best practices breakfast series in month of July, so look out for that. And we also honor our fellow peers, product management professionals who have contributed in a meaningful way to this profession and to their organization. So that would be our awards event in October. And as a tradition, we do a follow-up event the following year where we include all our awards winners to have a roundtable and discuss their success and how they achieve that success. Next slide. Again, this event and our past event wouldn't have been successful without our society sponsors. I would like to take this moment to thank our sponsors, our past sponsors and our current sponsors. If your organization or any of you are interested to sponsor this society, please reach out to one of our board members. There are opportunities available for that as well. Next slide. So as we created new board this year, we had a objective for our board members. I would like to share that with you all. One of the key objectives for us this year is how do we engage with our audience and members in a meaningful way by making our events more learning experience and also fun learning experience, actually. We are also looking to make social more active, so look out for our social pages. If you're not part of our LinkedIn society page, please invite yourself and we can add you to the page, and so you can get all the updates from the society as well. You can also look out for updates on our tagonline.org website. Look out for the society page there and you can see updates there as well. We also want to make sure we drive engagement with our sponsors and their employees as well. So we want them to be involved. So that's one of our objectives as well for this year. Next slide. So here are a couple of events and some screenshots and pictures from the event. So we will be doing a headshot and handshake event. So it's a great opportunity for meeting fellow product professionals and also getting your updated headshot. Next slide. Here's one of our past events where we had a thought leadership and winners from our PMA awards that discussed their best practices and what made them successful in their role. Next slide. And I mentioned to you, we do honor product managers and the contributions they make. So this is a picture from one of the past events, which is a signature gala event that we do in the month of October. So look out for that as well. Next slide. So here are quick contact details. You can reach out to me if you have any questions or interest or want to engage with the society. You can also look out for additional information on our website. As I mentioned, we do have opportunities, whether it's as a board position, whether it's a sponsor, whether you want to help us with event coordination or social engagement. So all those opportunities are available. So feel free to reach out to us to discuss any of those opportunities. Next slide.
That's it.
So that's all I wanted to cover. Thank you again for attending this event today. I'm very excited and looking forward to hear our panelists. Megan, back to you.
Thank you, Nitin. And just a final little tidbit, while we're chatting with the panelists, feel free to add any questions to the chat room. We'll be monitoring and we have plenty of time left today for Q&A. All right, you guys ready? Let's get back to it. I'd like to introduce you all to our fabulous panelists and women leaders in product who have embraced product management as their career and have excelled in this position. First up is Jennifer Cozier. Jen is the SVP of product at CrossBorder Solutions, an AI-based tax fintech startup. Prior to her current role, she had worked in product for over 10 years at publicly held companies, including ADP, Wolters Kluwer, and Fiserv. Jen is a former TAG board member and is passionate about mentoring women in product on topics including career growth and compensation. That's a good one. Nalini Humphrey is the lead product management and development manager at AT&T. She's currently focused on driving visibility of strategic org-wide initiatives, team engagement, and improving the product team's knowledge. Most recently, she was the product manager over AT&T's robocalling app called Call Protect, which I'm sure all of us know very closely. Kajal Mahindrakar is the Senior Director of Product Management at ADP and leads strategy and roadmap for next generation mid-market client onboarding products and tools. She's an energetic professional. Kajal has demonstrated the ability to be successful in driving growth and client retention across multiple HCM pillars, including payroll, time, and talent acquisition. She spearheads multiple digital transformation initiatives at ADP. She also holds a master's in computer science and is a very hands-on mom to 2 lovely kids and thrives on learning from them and is always in awe on how teaching and education continues to transform since she attended school. And finally, last but not least, Archana Rangasamy is the VP of Product Management at Equifax. She is a strategic technical product leader with a passion for ideating groundbreaking global platforms and products. She's also a strong believer that technology's end goal is to enable and grow the business. So welcome to all of our panelists. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. So let's get into some questions, and I want some audience participation here. Since it is the glorious day of St. Patrick's Day, we're going to kick it off with some Irish trivia because everyone is Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And so feel free to go ahead and answer the question. It's multi-choice. I've made them very easy. You know, if you know the answer or you just want to participate, go ahead and throw in your answer, A or B, to help out the panelists. So first question, Ireland's national sport is called hurling. What is hurling? Is it A, is it a sport of drinking lots of green beer and then hurling it up? Or is it a, that's how I play hurling. Or is it a sport with a stick and a small ball, considered one of the fastest and most skillful field games in the world? A or B? Oh, I got some Bs. Excellent, excellent. So it looks like the majority of the groups, oh, I got an A, I got an A.
No.
Mostly I got Bs though. So what do you guys think? Jen?
I'm going to go with B.
You're going to go B? Okay,
No beer
good.
will be consumed tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a school day. Kajal, what do you think? B, A?
Yep. B.
Okay, B. All right. I'm gonna give you, go ahead and give you the answer so we can move on. But yes, you guys are all correct. It is B. All right. Next up, we've got three fun questions before we get started. So the next one is, why do we wear green on St. Patrick's Day? Is it A, so you don't get pinched by your coworkers, or B, because wearing green makes you invisible to leprechauns that like to pinch people? Oh, lots of B's.
B.
It could definitely not be A because you shouldn't have coworkers pinching you.
Nope.
Awesome. All right, good job, guys. And the last one is St. Patrick's Day is the patron saint of Ireland. What is he best known for? A, driving the snakes out of Ireland, or B, bringing beer into the nation? Audience, what say you? Both. That's possible. All right, I've got one B so far. I got an A. All right, so this one's a hard one. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
I think A.
You
A.
say A.
B.
What do you think?
I think it's B.
A.
You think it's B, Archana? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not B.
Okay.
It's A.
Who knew?
He drove the snakes out of Ireland. But funny enough, there were never any snakes in Ireland. And so it actually had to do with religion and driving out pagan gods. So that was fun. I hope you guys
That
enjoyed
will have
that.
something with green beer, Megan. That's the reason I said B.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that was a really hard one. I made that a little bit harder because beer is a big thing for everyone to drink on St. Patrick's Day. So let's go ahead and get into the real questions now. If we can move to the next slide. And you guys, again, feel free to ask questions as we come along, but I'm going to kick us off with a career in product management has not always been linear, as shown in this slide. Has not always been as linear as shown as this slide. In fact, I believe most of you started in a different field of work, or it was called something different at the time. Before you were in this role, tell us where you started and how you moved into product. Jen, why don't you get us started?
Sure. Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, my career has definitely not been linear. Several times I've kind of gone lateral to try something different. But how I got into products was after working in lots of different parts of the business, so implementation, service, training. And then I was in sales, actually in sales engineering for about 6 years. And I kind of had done all the things that I wanted to do, was real proud of the work that I had done, but wanted to try something different. And I actually met a woman who led the product team at the time that we were working with while I was in sales. And she was somebody that I really admired. Her name's actually Kay Lucas. She's kind of somebody who's always, I always think about because she helped me get my first job in product. It was kind of scary because it was actually a lower job title, I think, than what I had at the time. I had to move for the job. and I really did not know anything about product management. So I kind of took a leap of faith. I saw somebody that I wanted to work with and learn from, and ended up, beginning my career, my 10-year+ career in product management. It has never been a dull day since, and I'm grateful for that change a while back.
Yeah, very cool. Archana, how about you?
Sure. Thanks, Megan, for the intro, and I'm so happy to be here with my co-panelists, getting to know you all. I started my career about 16 years ago as a developer. It was a technical, it was technically a traditional role to begin an IT career back then. Mm-hmm. I started off with a small team where it allowed me to perform the whole gamut of software development lifecycle. I was primarily a developer, but was entrusted to work on customer-facing roles, requirements gathering, to doing the technical design, developing it, deploying application, often where project management hats as well to manage expectations with clients. But I think that multidisciplinary experience helped me find where my passion lies. And over the years, I learned it was with, ideating market-defining products and bringing that to life. And hence my transition to product management 8 years into my career. But I think my roots with the software development and technical background has complemented this function exceptionally well. My first official job with the product was at EY for a data and analytics platform that a product that mines customers' data, be able to visualize trends, risks, and anomalies related to auditing, and that's where my love for data started. I want to take a break to pivot into a bigger, more impactful role. I was interviewed with Equifax. It was right after the cyber event in late 2017, where new Equifax transformation was beginning with the security-first mindset, leveraging cloud-native capabilities, building platforms. I started my role as a product portfolio owner for Ignite Link initiative that went on to become the state-of-the-art data fabric platform, which is the heart and soul of Equifax's cloud transformation. I grew organically from then, and I now manage the overall product execution of the data platform.
Nice. So from technical to product.
That's right.
Yeah, and from sales to product for Jen. So that's great.
Yeah.
Nalini, how did you get into product management?
Thank you, Megan, and thanks for this opportunity. I appreciate being included in this wonderful panelist. For me, being a product manager definitely wasn't linear in any sense, right? So I started my career in marketing. I've always wanted to do marketing, be in marketing, and I had been doing that for quite a long time, starting, in publishing, actually, and doing marketing. And it was a space where there wasn't even a product manager for any of the published materials. And then moving into more traditional product marketing role, sidestepped into an agency role, doing account management, where I met you, and then I moved back into marketing because I just really enjoyed that space. When I moved to AT&T, it really was the first time that I was being exposed to more of a product space, and really thinking of items as, this is the thing that you want to put out into the world, and building my experience there, just learning from my coworkers, learning from the opportunities that were presented, really helped. So it's definitely, certainly not linear, but definitely still in the marketing product space.
Yeah. That's excellent. there's so many comparisons, or not comparisons anymore, but like I know a lot of account managers that have moved or marketers that have moved into the product space too, because it just kind of feels like pretty normal to do that. So yeah, thank you, Nalini. And Kajal, how did you get into product?
And again, not a linear journey at all. And I would say some elements of what Archana spoke to, and some elements of what Jen spoke to, and if you all put together, it's like my journey is pretty similar. So I started as a software engineer, about 13 years in different roles in engineering, worked through various industries, telecommunications, retail, human capital management, which is ADP. So been in engineering roles at ADP for a good 6 years, and kind of just worked through various products, build different products, just progressed along that career path, leading development teams. Never imagined that product management would be the place where I would want to be. So, it's great to have Jen, and the way she had Kay Lucas, and I've been talking to Kay Lucas too, and she's one of the big mentors of mine. But Jen has a lot to do with my transition to product management career. It was just a casual coffee. We were catching up, ADP peers, and she was like, "You would probably do great in product management," and that just kind of triggered all those the thinking around it, and why not? And I would say it was a leap of faith. So I moved into product management about 6 years now, and into ADP, and then I've just kind of worked through different roles, and even within ADP moved to different products. So not just being in the same business unit or driving the same product strategy, I would say. It's been a fun ride is what I would say. I look forward to going to work every single day. So really happy about the decision of moving to product management.
That's awesome. And it's always great to have mentors to help guide you. That's something that I had as well. When I was starting off in my career, I had a mentor that was like, "Do you want to do product or project? You need to pick one of those." And I never picked one. And I've gone back and forth between the two my entire career. So it's really interesting to learn how everybody kind of starts off and gets here. So thank you guys for sharing that. One thing, a question on the chat that popped up that I think is a kind of quick question to add on to this is, any certifications or boot camps as you were transitioning into product that you would recommend or that you did that you can recommend?
Yeah, I could take that. I love the pragmatic marketing courses and materials and framework. I've actually done that multiple times. I've probably taken the basic one like 4 times in different organizations at different times. And I actually really encourage people to take even the beginning product management courses over again at different points in their career, because you always kind of learn something new. Also love the the product camps. Shameless plug for product camps this weekend in Georgia. But that has been a fun networking and great event as well.
Yeah, awesome. Anybody else? If not, we'll go ahead and move on. I think that was a good answer. All right, great. We're going to go to the next question, and we'll go to the next slide as well. So product managers have a very big title. They are usually considered the CEO of their product, and there are a lot of responsibilities. There's a few listed here on the slide. As a person in product, like what parts of your role really get you out of bed in the morning? What are your favorite things about it? Kajal, why don't you kick us off?
So for me, I would say it's all about client advocacy, being able to sit by a client, listen to or see them, observe them, I would say, get their feedback. And then just the big motivation is around how our products that we are building is impacting their day-to-day life. And that keeps me going. That's one of the key things. I'm a big data person. So just complementing what I heard from the feedback with the product analytics, and even broader, right? Like how my product or my teams are helping drive the company's vision or the strategy in terms of are we achieving the objectives, the goals, and in a very tangible manner, how we are helping the revenue growth or client retention. All of that is awesome. And for me, it's like I have to go in and I have to be like, I have to look at how analysts rank our product, where we are doing well, that's discussing with sales. Why did we win? How do we differentiate? Why do we lose? But it's a lot of it to be like in terms of data, like going in there and learning more and more about your consumer, about your client, about your product, how it stands in the market, and how does it impact your users. So all of that put together.
Customers, data, revenue, and popularity of your product. That's what I heard. Awesome. Nalini, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll totally second what Kajal said, just hearing from our customers and really fine-tuning the product to meet their needs, really figuring out what it is that's causing a hindrance, being an issue, whatever the case may be. I feel like that certainly is one of the major things that gets me out of bed as a product person every morning. Tackling problems really is it, and working through solutions with the entire team.
I remember a conversation we had while you were doing the Call Protect when it had just came out. And you were asking, I think it was on like one of the social media apps, like, is anyone using this? And what do you think? And I remember being so mad at Call Protect at the time for some reason that I can't remember. And I told you about it. And then like, I don't know, a few months or quarters, like it was improved. Maybe I like helped out and, as a customer. So
exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, cool. Archana, how about you? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
First of all, I totally agree with this statement. Product managers are the CEOs of their products because they are responsible for the overall life cycle of their products, and that brings to mind the strong leadership qualities, influence, and accountability that they need to have to ideate, build, market, and run it well. Right. I thought you'd also ask what will keep me up at night. There's quite a lot, but let's stick to the script here.
Positive.
Right. So product architecture function. That's a function, a discipline in product management that gets me very excited. That involves coming up with an optimal solution given the myriad constraints we have. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone will agree to this, right? It's not always easy. That exercises the thought leadership, the creativity, and most importantly, the consensus building skills to bring the stakeholders, customers, technical teams, engineering teams, all on the same page to agree to come to a common ground is not always easy, but it's worth any given day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I could kind of tag on to that, Archana. So, as I've kind of moved up in the hierarchy, I guess, now I'm more executive product management, and I find, what does my day look like? It's often getting alignment, and it's getting alignment for different portfolios and an overall roadmap with CEOs, executives, and even amongst stakeholders. On any given day, you could have implementation not agreeing with what sales wants, and so I find where is my true skill set come in lately, and it's getting everyone aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, making sure we agree, double checking, coming back around. It's that alignment part, and it's that part I think is hard to sort of like learn from a course or something like that. It's just literally, a lifetime or a career of working on stuff like this that you kind of figure out the art of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed none of you said budgets get you out of bed in the morning.
Not fun. Please save area.
Is that what keeps you up at night, Archana?
one of the things.
And so for the folks on the Zoom that might be looking to get into product, what do you think is the most important characteristics that a person should have to break into this industry? And are there any words of advice that you would give them? Especially moving up the product ranks. Archana, why don't you get us started there?
Sure. Well, like we all were telling, right? Having the empathy for the customer is the one most important thing, right? Empathizing with the customer, so we stay connected, we understand their issues, analyze their pain points, bring that rigor back into our prioritization, and make product decisions and steer the product in the right direction, right? Along with that, as a product manager, have the courage to ask, are we building what matters, right? So we stay relevant. Yes. I consistently challenge my team as well as myself. So we ensure that we are building the right platform and products. And definitely the passion, right? That, believe me, rubs off the entire team and leads to great development of great products. The ability to work cross-functionally, right? The very important skill that you have to now expand to go beyond your boundaries, work partnering with the engineering teams, of course, finance, marketing, sales, that's very important to this role. For moving up the ranks, it's not always linear like the slide that you are showing, right? From an entry to intermediate to a leader. But the three key aspects of every product manager's responsibility is: one, problem discovery, that's with the customers. Two, solution finding. And then three, product building, right? How do you get this to the market? How do you fulfill the customer needs? But getting to the higher levels in the rank, of course, will require years of experience in product management. You have to understand the tricks of the trade. The next level will be like a product manager leader or a VP, right? It's not so much on the day-to-day hands-on, but more like a mentorship role that has authority over, the product decisioning and direction to, the team, so they are aligned and motivated. And I think when it comes to the highest rank, which is the CPO, it's a strategic leader that sets the strategic targets, building teams, developing processes, and ensuring it's better across the board. Yeah. If it's a linear product ranking that gets moved, this is how you would move in that product rank hierarchy.
Very good, very good. Let's see who goes next. Jen, why don't you go next?
Sure. So, definitely would echo what Archana was saying about courage. That's kind of what I think is so key. You have to. These jobs are not easy. They are tough jobs. They're tough jobs anywhere. No matter what the situation is, they are sort of not for the faint of heart. I always tell people, you have to be willing to raise your hand, pitch an idea, do some research, maybe off hours on something that you think is important that people want to hear that you should do. I'll also share a piece of advice. Actually, it was the head of ADP's overall strategy. He gave me this advice so many years ago. He said, take on a project or a product or something, an initiative that points directly back to you. So of course, everything is, it's a team working on it, but, be the product manager on something that basically, if it goes really well, or sometimes it doesn't go well, but people will sort of know you worked on. One of my things in my career that I was most proud of, was one of the founders of a product called ADP Workforce Now, which became kind of like the, one of the biggest hits at ADP ever. But that day when we first started working on it, I was in a room, and I will never forget this. There was somebody who was supposed to be working on it. It was a different product manager. And he said, I don't really, this new thing, I have this current project going. I don't really want to take on something new. And I literally can remember physically raising my hand and saying, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like the big hit of all time. But, you know, somebody else had sort of passed on it. So take some of the stuff that, you know, maybe someone else didn't want and turn it into the most spectacular thing ever. And then your name is forever, you know, it's associated with, you know, one of the mothers of this product.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Very good. Courage. I hope people are taking notes. Those are a lot, both between Archana and Jen, lots of good skills and characteristics to have. Nalini, what do you think?
Definitely echo those guys, but I think flexibility is another one. Being able to have conversations with your leadership, but then, you know, turn right around and have a conversation with your technical folks. Being able to switch within those roles, being able to work the lower level bugs as well as create a vision for that product, right? And that's the other thing that I think is important in this role is vision, right? Do your homework, do some research. What is it that is the next step in your product? Figure out really what it is that you're looking to drive the next level to be. And then put it on a roadmap, get the team excited about it, get the things in place to make it become a reality. I think those are some other important aspects of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And Kajal, you want anything additional to add?
Yeah, so I mean, again, right, everything that Archana, Jen, and Nalini said, the one thing I would think or recommend is, especially if you're looking to move, right, and I'm not talking about progression, that comes next, right, but just a move from whatever other field you are into product management, then I would say this whole trait, because it's a lot about like soft skills. It's not like product engineering, and they can kind of test you on like, you know, the technology you understand, or what are the tech stacks you've worked on, or have you worked on a cloud-based application, right? It's unlike that. And it's great to have that technical background. I can absolutely vouch, but when I am like, you know, interviewing people for my team, that's not the only criteria, or it's essentially not a requirement that the person should have a technical background. So with that said, I would say, like, you know, take some time to like introspect and see if you have this knack, or I would say what I call it as a product thinking or product sense. And it's not a term that I coined it, just look it up and you will find tons and tons of material on these product thinking or product sense, right? Like, how is inquiry your second nature? Is observation is your second nature? Think of like how, like, you all use different apps, you all use different websites, you know, why do you like it? Why is an application or a product being loved by the people? Why do they keep going back to it? I always love, and I spend a lot of time on what the apps and everything that my kids use, because I don't use them. And I'm like, what is that about, you know, these applications and products that make these teenagers thrive? What is so different? Why did they stop using video games, which they used in the past, right? So if all these things, like, you know, if you all are doing, then essentially it's just an indicator that this is a space where you would thrive.
Yep.
So those are my pointers, I would say.
Yeah, I would say, like, in the words of Ted Lasso, be curious, right? Really like try to understand the ins and outs of everything. Just to add on to all of your answers, you know, one thing that I think product managers have to also take on is strong personalities and learning how to like work with people, like strong personalities across the board, whether they're leaders or, you know, QA people. Like you have to be able to work with everyone. And then, which requires a lot of patience, right? And a lot of accountability, because as CEO of the product, like, regardless of if somebody doesn't pull their weight, it still all falls on you, in a way, right? So thank you very much. All right, let's go on to the next one. So we're going to move away from product management just a little bit, because product manager isn't really the only role in product, right? There are kind of like adjacent roles that are also really important. So strategy, operations, marketing are some that come to mind. For someone who's starting off their product career, what roles would you recommend investigating outside of product management? And is there or should there be a preference of one role over the other? Kajal, why don't you kick us off?
I mean, there are many, and I think you touched upon it, right? Like even different organizations distinguish between like a product owner and a product manager role. And in certain places, you would see that the same person is wearing like both the hats, right? I wouldn't say like, preference, one should be preferred over the other. I think that's more to do with what would, as an individual, do you like to do, right? And what do you thrive off? Do you thrive off technical discussions? Do you thrive off working closely with the development teams and influence to a certain extent the how of it, right? Because maybe you've had that kind of a technical background. If you are truly focused on the why aspect of it and does not want to get into the weeds and the solution architecture aspect of it, then maybe product management or a manager is a better role. If you're looking for breadth, I would say strategy is awesome, right? Because I feel you're not responsible for execution there, but you're going company wide and you're influencing what should be the the next few years strategy, right? So where should we pivot? So lots of different things. I think it's just based on what the individual is interested in and where you would thrive. But yeah, essentially.
Those are really good tips. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Archana, what do you think?
Huge plus one to what Kajal said. And you touched upon the operations, marketing, right? I can relate to a product sales role that I think has to have a very close relationship with product management, right? It's very essential that they understand the details of what and how the product is built so they can effectively make a sale. And if the flair is to sell, then both teams should know what is the high-level prospects, right? And what are they get the real-world feedback, so you can get that back and dynamically evolve the product.
Yep.
And I think that requires the dynamics involved in product unit costs, right? How the scale and license consumption usage affect the cost. And both parties should be knowing and be aware of this so they can make an effective sale. I think that is worth, and a field that is, I think it's growing. Marketing will enable sales, but this product sales managers and product sales engineers, I think, Jennifer, you were talking about the product sales engineer that you started with. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, I could even add, a couple more roles. Design. So at my company, UI UX actually reports to product or to me. So that's another great sort of adjacent role. I've seen some movement in between those two roles over time. And we actually have, some product managers on our team who like to do a little bit of the design themselves, not just from, a designer per se. And also, I guess I just wanted to mention, there are some roles that are maybe not as sort of forward or out front, but think data product management. So I work at an AI company. The data is so key. We have people who literally they wake up in the morning and think about our data and do we have the right things kind of fueling the engine. So it's not as maybe out front, but it is something that still has a roadmap, needs buy-in, budget, all those things that your sort of traditional software products would need, but it's a little bit more kind of behind the scenes. So if you're more super analytical, stuff like that, something to consider.
I love it. Nalini, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely agree. I think any role where you're touching a product, any role where you have to have your intrinsic knowledge of what that product is and how it works, I feel is a good jumping off point for being a product manager, because you have the background, you have the insight into what's making this thing up, and then you just kind of have to go the next steps really to get into the weeds a little bit more. You know, I come from a product marketing background, so a lot of it is, you know, from my perspective, it's like I had to know exactly what the product was in order to actually go off and market it. So it was an easier transition. In the agile processes, I think a product owner is very similar to a product manager. They have to have that intrinsic knowledge. They have to have to be sort of the right-hand person of the product manager and be the person that would take the reasons and distribute it to the rest of the team. So yeah, certainly within Agile itself gives you a lot of different areas to move around in.
Yeah, I think so. Like we talked about product owners, product architects, sales, product marketing, product operations. So there's just like, there's so much around there. And so if your first job in product isn't a product manager, there are so many other opportunities. And those actually might fit you even better. And they're very important roles to make sure that, you know, that there's a successful product that is, that goes to market. So thank you guys. Can we go to one more slide that we're going to share? And this will be our final question. Then we're going to open it up to the audience to ask some more questions. And I see there's already a couple hanging out, waiting. So hardly a week goes by without another piece in the news appearing about challenges women face in science, technology, boardrooms, medicine, you name it. There was a New York Times article recently that was called "Picture a Leader, Is She a Woman?" And when people were told to draw an effective leader, most people drew a man. Given that it is Women's History Month, how can we improve gender biases in our product industry? Nalini, do you want to kick us off?
Definitely. You know, there's a lot of work that's still to be done in this space in bringing women to the forefront of leadership positions. Personally, I've not necessarily had a lot of pushback or biases in the space because I've worked in technology from the beginning of my career. And so it's sort of like just natural to continue going down that role. I'm blessed to have a lot of women around me that I can kind of reach out to and have conversations when things are a little bit more difficult in getting through to that next level, or working past some quirk that, you know, might have come up because I'm a woman. Lots of conversations, you know, I think more recently where people are stopping and thinking and actually taking into account more women in leadership positions, which, you know, can only be for the better of us overall.
Absolutely. Sorry, Jen. Sorry, I was going to say something and then.
Yeah, no worries.
Jen,
yeah, I mean, gosh, you know, as I was reflecting on this panel, Women's History Month, I was thinking, you know, have I experienced bias? And, you know, I guess I have. You know, as somebody who is especially, you know, I haven't been, I'm maybe not as technical as some of the people, or, you know, I don't have an IT background. I have a, you know, general business background. I have my MBA, but I've never been able to like hang with the, you know, talk the talk or about writing code and stuff like that. But what I've realized over time is you kind of have to find your own voice. Don't try to be something that you're not. I've tried to offset so many, you know, over technical, sometimes at times developer voices in the room with, you know, let's come back to the client, the user, the business problem. And I've kind of leaned into my own personal brand. I'll give you a couple pieces of just practical advice. And, I wish that this wasn't actually advice that I was going to give, but, at times in my career, I have shied away from being the note taker, the party planner, the, launch party planner, whatever. I actually like doing that sort of stuff, but I have purposely never done it the last couple of years. And I don't volunteer to be the note taker because I don't want to be thought of as, someone's assistant or something like that.
Yeah.
So, sad that I'm hoping, 5-10 years from now that no one will ever have to hear that advice, but I kind of wanted to share that. The other part is when you're looking for new roles, when you are thinking about moving, do a culture check, look to see, are there women in leadership roles at that company? Are there women in product? Do you know other women who are there who can tell you what the culture is like? Because I think the fit is extremely important. Can you be successful in this environment, or is it, are they looking for something that will be very hard for you because it's not kind of like who you are? I'm kind of a fan of the, if you can see it, you can be it. Do you see other women in leadership roles on the board, in the executive ranks? If so, that's probably a good sign. If not, you can still do it. Maybe you can be that person, but it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
So, that's my kind of practical advice.
Very good advice. Kajal, how about you?
Pretty much what Jen said, right? Being able to talk to someone and assess, does the company have women in different roles and things like that? And I don't know who I'm quoting, but for I read it somewhere recently, they keep asking women in these interviews, how do you manage, how do you have this work-life balance? And the response to it was no, I do not balance it. Sometimes I'm a rock star mom. There are days where I'm a rock star mom, and there are the days where I'm a rock star executive.
Yeah.
I cannot, right? And I think so just having that environment and assessing a company to ensure that they offer those kind of flexibility options and things like that is very important as we look at women. And personally, I haven't touch wood, not experience any biases. Have been very lucky to have these phenomenal women managers over the past few years, excellent mentors, and not once, multiple times. But one thing that isn't uncommon is walking into a room, especially as growing up through different roles, walking into a room full of men, and you can you can immediately notice that you are the only one there. And the more and more I see that, I feel, what am I doing to make that change, which I wasn't focused on at all. And in the past 2-3 years, I've been really putting the time to either mentor women who want to move up into product roles. I signed up as a Girl Scout leader for my daughter's troop to really bring up this whole troop and create these women leaders. So that is something I'm kind of really putting more focus on, that what is my contribution and how can I do that? Because I saw all these things that, hey, I do not have time to do this. It's my plate is more than full with my kids, my work, and home. And I didn't make time for all of these things, and I've gradually started making time because I think we are the ones who can bring that change. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. All right. Archana?
Great points, Kajal, and break the bias.
Nice.
Yeah. So interestingly, though, I have, fortunately, I have not had any biases, but interestingly, I have not had any women managers in my 16 years of career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would love to see women pursue more, career opportunities in technology and product and take on the leadership roles. I'm glad that there is heightened interest across corporate America for gender equality and diversity. And there are companies sponsoring women leadership programs. And in fact, I just graduated from a year-long Women in Leadership program, thanks to our CTO, led by our HR BP, HR business partners, that brought women from different disciplines to provide a forum that you can come discuss issues, share thoughts, that bring that diversified perspective in a safe space where you can discuss issues like, I don't see eye to eye from a particular person on my team. How do I deal with this issue, and how do I resolve conflicts? Not just that, how do you coach them to have critical conversations? How do you give effective feedback and receive feedback? How do you maximize your personal brand? All of those will be discussed in that that forum there, which was helpful. Excellent programs. I think women should come forward to make use of these opportunities and take charge of their career.
Absolutely. I actually did that program too. I was part of the initial graduating class, and it was fantastic.
Right.
And it is like the companies that you work for, you want to look into, are they investing in their employees in programs like that? And so, that was really a great one that I did as well. So thank you guys. Those are great answers. I am actually going to kick it over to the audience and see what they'd like to know about. So the first question I see here is, what were your biggest challenges when you transitioned into product management? Anyone want to take that one?
I can take it, Megan. For me personally, if you are from a product engineering background, just bringing that discipline to not influence the how of the product. It's good to be curious. It's good to be part of those discussions if that's something that you're interested in. It's APIs, it's web services, it's cloud, but it needs a lot of discipline to not influence those, because I see like product management as the owners of why and engineering as owners of how, and let them drive the how. And it takes a lot of discipline to not get into the how because you come from that background. So that was my biggest challenge, because I would immediately, why are we not using this? Why are we not using microservices? And I'm like, okay, that's not. So that was my personal challenge, I would say. Took a lot of practice. I think now I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I'm not. You figure out how
I had that problem.
Why it needs to be done, and what do I want for the product and for the client, and that's about it.
Yeah. Do you find yourself like in meetings going, stop solutioning, Kajal, stop solutioning? That's what I do all the time.
Yeah.
Think about the problem.
Yeah, and some of it was
Anybody?
Some of it was like stop attending those meetings.
Right.
Some of it was like even like being diligent about like thinking for a moment and like, okay, yes, the invite, it was extended to me, but do I need to be there?
Yeah.
And then just stop attending those meetings.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart too. Anyone else?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's one of those things where you can't help but delve back into your background, right? You can't help but go back into the thing that that you enjoyed as well. Similarly, Kajal, I stopped going to some of the solutioning meetings as well, because it was getting to a point where I was getting personally frustrated about what was happening. And I at some point I was like, I can't attend these anymore because it's very frustrating. And the moment I stepped back, I realized the work was still getting done. Things were still being completed. and I didn't need to continue being part of it, which, was excellent, and freed up time on my calendar.
Nice.
Yeah, I could share a little bit of it. This is going way back, but when I moved from sales, I was kind of, at the top of my game. I felt like I knew everybody knew how to do that. And when I moved into product, it was very humbling. I really didn't know the craft of product management. There were so many things to learn. And I remember just thinking, what am I doing? I don't even know what questions to ask, who to go to or whatever. And, just kind of being open to not knowing the answer to everything, being assigned to work on some subject matter that, you really don't know. So then quickly saying, okay, well, what do I need to do? This thing is about, compensation. What is the compensation certification that I can get? Or what can I read? What webinars can I go to? And really digging into educating myself about whatever topic it is. I mean, I've worked in all sorts of areas. Right now, I work in a very niche area of tax right now called transfer pricing and tax provision. Had never worked on those areas before this last role, and kind of back to the drawing board. Okay, what is this? What are the stakeholders' needs? And kind of continuing to just always try to learn about whatever the new thing is. That's one of the exciting things about product management. I mean, if you get the principles of product management right, you can literally, I always tell people, I'm like, you can be product manager for anything. It could be a box of cornflakes. It could be a software product. The principles kind of take you through. But it's always that humbling experience of okay, what are we working on now? And what do I need to learn?
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years in, I'm still doing the same thing. What do I need to learn to get up to speed on this?
Yeah.
Let me also jump in here. The challenges that we currently face, right? As I said, given the myriad constraints we have, as much as I want to take on the customer requirements and create products that will fulfill all of their needs, the requirements come from different directions, especially when we are dealing with global teams building a platform that requires capabilities across the globe for all of the at least the company's businesses, right? Honoring those, also keeping up to your product vision, what you think is the right thing to do, as well as what engineering teams tell what they should be bringing to the backlog. Is always a challenge to prioritize and keep them all happy. We would all often be the person that says no, right, and make them unhappy. That's one main challenge that we would always face. And then have this communication. Communication is so central to this role, right? And with what we are currently doing, communication happens in all directions. It goes upwards to the SLT to tell where we are, how we are doing with our vision, right? Although we know what our scope is, right? Outwards to the customer, we have to be giving them a honest, progress on where we stand. What is it getting done? What is it that we are doing this year? What is in the roadmap and things like that? And downwards to the team. And keeping up with all of these things and ensure that you are doing the right thing for the product and platform is a challenge. But it's a very interesting challenge for product managers to face.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, we've got a few more questions here. So the first one we've got two more I'm looking at right now. So do you have to have or know agile best practices to work in product management?
Oh, no, not at all.
No? Okay.
You got to learn them.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, agile didn't really come around until more recently, right? And so, but product management's been around for ages.
True.
So the principles of product management is a little bit more solidified, I'd say. It's a little bit more compartmentalized in the agile principles. It's certainly helpful in today's world to know how to be a product management manager within agile, but it's not. It's not necessary from a craft perspective.
Yeah, I see it as a very coachable skill. So I would not decline a candidate if they've not had the Agile Scrum experience, as long as I think or I can assess that the person can pick it up fast. And I do feel, irrespective of the standards and everything, the practices do differ from an organization to organization, right? You kind of tweak that Agile Scrum to what works for your group, for your product. And it could be completely different, right? For a startup, it could be different for a platform, going back to what Archana said, wherein you are you are one of the key organization or a key business unit wherein all the other partner teams depend on you because you own the platform. And the way you would implement Agile and Scrum in your area might be slightly different than how it's done, for a product which is pretty much standalone. Everything is self-contained. So either ways, I feel it just varies, and it's a very coachable skill.
That's true. I'll just mention that I think that you're all correct. However, resume readers will be looking for those words as a product manager. And so that's the only thing I would point out is if you are trying to get into the career, it is probably a good idea to go ahead and take some sort of Agile training or certification, just so you can add it to your resume so that you get picked up on the reader so that it actually gets in front of people like Kajal, because you might not get in front of them because of those readers. Yeah,
I couldn't agree less, right? Yeah. Because especially now, we all know how the turnover and the attrition rate. If anybody is looking to hire, they're looking for people who can, don't have too much ramping, right? Like a ramp up time, like a quick starter. And then that's when these skills start playing an important role. If I have two resumes side by side, and then if they are equal on all the different skills other than Agile, then for me, yes, Agile makes it much more easier for that person to get started, right? So.
Yeah, and I would also say, for folks who are thinking about getting their MBA, if you look at some of the surveys about, who are product managers, it does help as you're kind of going up in your career to have that MBA or, similar, on your resume. And it is one of those things where you're looking at two candidates for your I think it really plays in it though, VP level, more and more, but it's something that does separate you, and it helps people think, okay, she can just jump in pretty quickly to our, executive team because they, she has that MBA. So it is something to consider. And I talk with a lot of people just with one-off, mentoring, quick mentoring and stuff like that on should I get my MBA or not. And I do think it matters if you're looking for, to really kind of keep going up that chain.
That's a good tip for sure. Let's see. So this is kind of a fun one. What's your favorite product that you use on a daily basis?
Professionally, for me, you want to go ahead, Megan.
I'll be the one who embarrasses herself and just said that TikTok is my new favorite product. I don't actually post videos, but I love watching them. Go ahead, Kajal.
Somebody just responded. I love WhatsApp, because it's a big thing in India. Keeps me connected to my family and friends. At work, I would say with these past few years, especially in the virtual world, I love the Miro board. It's an excellent tool if you have not explored. It helps you it's a whiteboard, but it helps you collaborate virtually with your UX teams and things like that. And you can just kind of plop images and draw your user journeys and things like that. I think they've done awesome with that tool. And at a personal level, we just moved into a house this past year, and one of the apps I used for my to close my house was better.com, and I know it's like it's been in a big controversy, so that aside, but the platform itself is awesome. I mean, I just cannot imagine the transformation around the mortgage industry or loan processing being completely digital. Like, I was using the app for 30 days. I probably spoke to someone on the phone maybe once or twice.
Nice.
And it just helped. And it was like tons and tons of data collection and verification. We all know, right? At some point in time, we've gone through it. But everything was digital, right? Like, I the last time I did it, it was like faxing documents, dropping off documents. So I love that experience. So that's the better WhatsApp Miro.
I'll take the flip side of it. I have to admit that I'm critical of just about everything I interact with. I'm very visual. I care a lot about the design and UI UX. So I literally, like, anything I'm doing, whether it's checking in at a doctor's office, taking a course, paying for something, I literally like nitpick everything. So I hate everything.
That makes a good product manager.
I guess it's very annoying to people around me.
I bet. Any other favorite products? What about product management tools?
I'd love Lucid Chart, right? That's one favorite, I think, across the board. It's very easy for collaboration, where you can share after your thoughts are in the page, right? And you know, bring more people, invite people to add their thoughts as well. I think that's a great collaboration tool that we have at work.
Yeah, I like AHA too. For road mapping, it's a pretty neat tool as well.
Yep, very robust. I love Confluence and Jira or the Atlassian products personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been kind of moving towards Confluence as well. And interestingly, it wasn't my favorite, and maybe still isn't my favorite, but our thinking about, you know, who we interact with, our development and engineering teams love it. So we kind of have said, okay, if that's sort of where they're living, let's live over there as well. You know, I'm kind of like a little more old school, like with some of the SharePoints and stuff, but they love wikis and stuff, but they love Confluence. So it's like, okay, we'll do Confluence, you know?
Yep. We're doing
definitely Atlassian.
Go ahead, Nalini.
Oh no, I was saying definitely Atlassian for working across teams. You know, it's super simple, drag drop. You kind of are able to do that. And Miro is another great tool as well.
Yeah, that is a good one. And we've now combined AHA and Jira together because they can actually talk back and forth. And so there's like road mapping on AHA, and then there's story breakdown and delivery in Jira, and that's working pretty well so far. And so there are a lot of tools.
For us, it's been all Atlassian. So it's been Jira Align, which is the road mapping, and Jira. I'm not yet done by a side-by-side comparison, but I can tell you that these two products work well together in terms of integrations and things like that, coming from the same family.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jira Align and Jira. Yep.
Agreed. Yep. Let's see, where are we? Well, we're actually almost at about time. So let me see if there's any final questions. I think we might have covered them all. Let's take this final one. What changes do you see happening in the industry post-COVID? Or current COVID, during COVID?
I can start. I think with our 2022, the year when it began, when we all started to be virtual, the some of the key aspects of product management, like communication and collaboration, definitely took a hit, right? But later, I think we learned how to deal with it, right? When it became a de facto for all lines of business, we found mechanisms to deal with that also. And I think we broke that. I think post-COVID going forward, companies will have this hybrid model, right? Where you have a hybrid model work week, you come in person, have face time for brainstorming, collaboration, and everything else can be virtual. I think that's working pretty well now, and will continue to be that way going forward. It's not just with product management. I think with product management mindset change, with this digital transformation acceleration, we all started thinking, mobile, API first, cloud native approaches, right? And we are seeing a transformation happening also on the talent acquisition and hiring side, where we now have access to national-wide, candidate pools, where we are able to, even small companies are able to compete with tech giants to find, the right people for these niche roles. And I think with going virtual and remote, things are making great progress in both transformation as well as finding people. Yeah. In fact, our state-of-the-art data fabric platform was launched in the height of pandemic. So we are able to achieve those things.
Right, that's right. Anyone else?
Yeah,
I feel like that has
we
been the
actually
biggest
accelerated a product as well to get it out quickly for the pandemic. So, I think for product management as a whole, the pandemic has really showed the importance of our role. I also think that it has helped with focus on the employee compensation and, making sure that there's the engagement levels that are needed. It's been a focus role, make sure we keep the right people. From my standpoint too, it's, we want to keep the team that we have together because it could be quite hard to backfill, quite frankly, right now. Some people are moving around, but there's also still some folks who are great, who are very settled in their roles, and this is not the time that they want to move. Mm-hmm. So, kind of keeping your top talent, I think it has reminded us to do what we need to do to keep that top talent right now.
Yes, retention is so important, isn't it? Yeah, especially now.
From our, similarly, right? So engagement, how do you make the connection with the team members that you have and new ones that are coming on board? How do you continue to drive that connection? I think are ways that we have to kind of figure that out as things evolve in this new world that we live in.
Yeah. I have follow-up questions, but we're out of time. But I would say, I'm going to ask anyways. So like getting voice of customer or getting in front of customers more, has that gotten harder during the pandemic, or has it gotten easier because you can get, video time with them? How has that changed?
Well, we used to have in-person roundtables. That's not happening anymore. I think it's a little harder to get people to focus on the thing that you want their feedback on. A lot of people are they have a lot less patience as well.
Oh boy.
And on the flip side, I would say we are, at least in my space, we are able to do more of it, because traditionally something that was thought of like, it has to be an in-person and you need to visit the client. And there is so much you can travel, right? But now it's like everybody is comfortable with the virtual world. So it's like, I want the UX team, as long as you have robust tooling and things like that, to have research sessions done, observations done. We are able to do many more. than what we could do in the past. So
Yeah. So good. You see pros and cons to it. Well, we're about at time. I literally could talk to the four of you guys all day though. This has been really great. I've really enjoyed it. And I just want to thank you all on behalf of the Product Management Society, our society board members, and our audience for your time today. And as a reminder to our audience, stay connected. Sign up on tagonline.org if you're not already a member. Visit our society page. Join our LinkedIn group if you want to hear more. And then, as Nitin told you guys earlier, we've got more events coming up. May 17th is our night out for headshots and networking. July 20th will be breakfast and best practices. And then, of course, our signature event awards gala in October. So you can join the society in many different ways. Reach out to us if you're interested. And if you're a hiring product manager, you can always post information about the jobs that you're trying to fill on our LinkedIn page. Just let us know. And so thank you again. Appreciate everyone for coming. And again, thank you to our panelists and to Nitin for explaining the board. And then we hope you enjoyed yourself today.
Thank you. And thanks, Tag, for
Thank
hosting
you.
us today.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.